Hello everyone, Chris Erickley here for the Press Enterprise and PE.com. I'm joined by Todd Dorn from the Lease Doctor. We're here at the Small Business Resource Expo at the Riverside Convention Center. We're asking people to kind of take the pulse of the Inland Empire. Todd, first question, what do you see as kind of a turning point or advice for a turning point for the economy here in the Inland Empire?
Well, it's mainly when people and individuals are going into business, they look at what kind of money they're going to make when they go into business, and they don't look at their overhead. And when businesses look at what their costs are and understand their obligations that they're getting into, their odds of success are greater. Our firm has worked with many companies that thought that they were going to be making a certain amount of money, and that might have been true, but they miscalculated their overhead. And so you have to look at your overhead, your expenses, have enough resources to give you time to get your business started and working. So by the time you're starting to make revenues, you're not out of business. So it's not just the revenues, it's your expenses. And most people just look, business owners, people, look at what they're going to make, and they don't look at what their expense side of the equation is, and they don't calculate it accurately.
In the way of adding people to the workforce, we have a lot of grads coming up, a lot of graduations this month and also in June. What kind of advice would you have for the new grads that are trying to break into the workforce?
The best thing they could do is think about what they want to do before they go into the workforce, evaluate what they have a passion for, have an understanding of what their talents are, and then work extremely hard. There's no free lunch, there's no overnight success, there's no shortcut. So the only way that a college grad can have a good chance of getting a job is by making an outstanding presentation, dressing appropriately, wearing business attire, if that's the type of business they're going into, in a professional environment, and doing their homework, researching what type of opportunities are out there, and double checking and looking at what their talents, passions are, and of course, work very hard.
Now, obviously, these last couple of years have been challenging for any business. Kind of, what have you taken away as a businessman from this rough economy? What have you kind of learned from it?
Well, what we have learned from this, we've been involved in a couple of previous downturns. We've been around for a while. But the most important thing is don't spend all your money. Just because you might be in a situation where times are good and you have excess cash, put it away. Most small business owners don't look beyond today. And so if they're able to salt away money, so when they're short or they have an unexpected surprise, we deal with commercial leases, and many times a landlord, once a tenant is in a lease, a year or two later, they get hit with a huge bill and the tenant doesn't have the money for it. Then they get behind on their rent, they get hit with penalties, and they end up going out of business. So it's making sure you have resources, not just during the good times, but during the bad times, so you could weather a short-term or mid-term downturn.
Now, in this next and final question, we're kind of asking you to play Nostradamus here a little bit, but how would you summarize, maybe either in one word or even one sentence, the future of the economy here in the IE?
I believe the future of the economy in the IE will improve. We already are seeing it to improve. We're already seeing evidence of that with our client base. And it's a slow climb, but it takes, what Rome wasn't built in a day. It took a long time for the downturn to happen. The Inland Empire was largely dependent on construction and a certain type of field where, builders were building homes and buildings like crazy. So what has to happen now is people have to look at the professional side of the equation, and you need entrepreneurs coming out here to open up businesses, to service what's already here. And I believe it'll get better. We're already sensing, as I said, some of that right now.
All right, Todd, thanks for joining us. Very thoughtful and thorough questions. I'm Chris Erickley reporting from the Small Business Expo here at the Riverside Convention Center.